Good morning, it's Rod Young here. Update 14, we're on the 15th day here in lockdown in New Zealand. Just listened to an IMF, International Monetary Fund expert, talking to Trevor Noah. So basically they've had like 90 countries come to them for help. These countries are told that the most important thing is to protect people's health, especially the health of the doctors and the nurses. So that's the first expenditure. The second expenditure is to maintain the income of those people that are having to stay home, so that they still have money to buy food and bits and pieces like that, and maintain their expectancy that they're not going to lose everything. And lastly, small businesses and business enterprise, so that when the viral loading is taken care of, that these small businesses will be able to get back to work. So that's from a corporate perspective. Anyway, I just wanted to make that point if you have any questions or would like to subscribe, if I've earned your subscription, I've stopped using the background of the people from a copyright perspective, and I have to do it independently. So that's my little contribution for the viral loading, if you like, of videos into the internet. If it's useful, then that's fine. If it's not, then well, obviously I'll know by the number of people that watch the video. But all I'm suggesting is after this viral thing happens in New Zealand, there are certain things that we're doing that need to be addressed. This is like I explain to my wife, it's very similar to an x-ray, and we're able to see the broken bones in the global and the national economy by having this lockdown. And what I mean by a CAT scan is that the health professionals are out there and they're 100% involved. And I'll give you an example in the American situation. What's happening is, for example, poverty there's a lot of people that have a life expectancy, but they are limiting their life expectancy through poverty. And so when they get the virus, they're showing up in hospital, and Trump's picked this up, and it's done on an ethnic-based background, but that's an interesting point in itself. And so in New Zealand, we've missed that because basically we've had the virus introduced to us from travellers overseas or people that are travelling on cruise ships, and their economic status is tied with their ethnicity. And so it actually hasn't gone into the heart and blood and bone of New Zealand society. And so that's why it's different in America. We've had big parades like the Mardi Gras and bits and pieces like that, and so it's spread right into the very marrow of their country. So in New Zealand's has over 1,000 cases but only one death, compared to Morocco, for example, and other places that have had 12 or 1,300 cases like New Zealand. They're up to 60 or maybe 40 deaths, and that's 40 times or 60 times greater than New Zealand. So that's the question. And the reason I believe that that's happened is that New Zealand has people that have come back from overseas, and it's a very select group of disposable income. So the average New Zealander hasn't actually been exposed to the virus because we've pretty much closed down early and well, and so other countries, their x-rays are showing. For example, the health professionals have said, this is what you've got to do, politicians. So the politicians have gone and done it, opened up, let's say, big hospital systems in New York City. But the people that are getting sick are those that perhaps are not, have health insurance, or if they did have health insurance, they're underinsured. So all of a sudden, the world's brightest and best doctors are then treating the people who are perhaps the least insured or uninsured, and that's what I mean about finding out the broken bones. And in New Zealand's case, we're in a situation where some of the businesses and things that we do, we can take lessons from other countries. We don't need to drive down the path of the inequalities that America has found itself in. But then, on the other hand, there are some lessons that we are learning from the United States over Britain, for example, where the future king and the prime minister both got the virus. And so that's the other side of it. So we've got the best of both worlds in New Zealand. We aren't doing what America has, finding after 270 years of its existence, the broken bones that it has, and it's got to address them. And the scientists will say, well, you've got to treat people in a different way. So finally they're shaking off, if you like, a historical cloak, shaking out and disinfecting the bed sheets after 270 years. Britain, in a sense, with its two key figures, the monarchy, which is 57 different countries of the world, and its Prime Minister, who's just done Brexit and got out of the EU, both getting the virus, and Trump sending special medicines over so that virus doesn't pass on. So thanks, Trump, for looking after the health of the Prime Minister of the UK. So what happens now is the world has places that will be pockets up into Papua New Guinean highlands and stuff of that nature. So the virus is going to linger for, I'd say, a decade, 10 years. And so we're going to do this testing and tracing. And so it's really stirring the pot. New Zealand and the rest of the world are going to have to find out where the virus is. And just the other day, I was listening to Dr. Campbell. Hurry up and knight Dr. Campbell, Queen Elizabeth II. Please put Dr. John Campbell on your knighthood list. His services through the internet are brilliant, and we learn so much, and we know we can trust him. And anyway, he spoke about the sneezing. It's about 30 metres per second, 10 to 30 metres per second a sneeze, and that's incredible. So it means 8 metres out, a person can sneeze. And what's interesting about it is when you sneeze, it creates a vortex. It's like, have you seen those dolphins that they blow those rings? The rings of air, and they fold. And so these rings travel. And I've seen them in exhaust pipes of diesel vehicles where one of the pistons, and it's smoking, and it'll send a ring, and it'll propagate. And so even big droplets of viral load will land, and then as it dehydrates, and so up to 3 hours, and also in the air up to half an hour. So we're finding that the spread of this virus can be up to 8 metres away if people are sick and sneezing. And so walking into a supermarket, and that's why the masks to hold that. If you put masks on dolphins, they wouldn't be able to blow those bubble rings. I'm just letting you know that the mask on a human being is a baboosh, and then it all just sort of stays there. It doesn't travel 8 metres. But you've still got viral load falling on the floor, so that's why washing your feet and shoes are important. Anyway, I just share that with you, and that's my video for this period of time. But there are people that I've talked with, if you like, through Trevor Noah, the World Bank, so you can go on the internet and find out who he talked to, a lovely woman from the World Bank, and then just catch up with Dr. John Campbell with that. So I'm sharing you those experts, and those are the references in my bibliography, the APA system of referencing, and so I encourage you to keep reading widely and diversely to bring the information in and make your own decision. I'm fortunate that I have had an excellent education here in New Zealand and through university, and now this is an educating process as well from a global perspective, and hopefully we'll carry on with this internet and these videos as we go forward. I'm very interested in how New Zealand's economy will progress, and Australia's as well, which includes all the Pacific Islands. Because we are the southern hemisphere, and we could have our own flag down here, the northern hemisphere and then the southern hemisphere, and so that's one of the things. Okay, have a good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, God willing.